Hello everyone, Chrisa is here, and today it is our last video on body mechanics, timing in ochos and walks, but it is also our transition to what we will be focusing on in the videos to come, and that is energy management. So oftentimes, you start off a tanta and the first dance feels fantastic. It's like, oh yeah, I got this. Second song is like, oh, well, okay, that was nice. Third song is like, da, da. Fourth song is like, is this almost over? So it's not that you're doing it on purpose. It's just that many times the how much energy we spend into one thing changes our experience overall, and we might not realize it, but it is very, very important. So I'm just planting the seed in this video for this new theme. Just have it at the back of your head when you are practicing. See if you can keep your energy even and stay calm. See if you're wasting out energy. You're just letting it go. Try to see if there are any moments like that. And if there are, was that necessary? Did you need to just let energy go? Did you have to contain it? Did you want to have a burst of energy? I'm just putting things, I'm just planting the seeds for more talks that will happen through the videos in the coming weeks. And since we are in this very general subject, if something comes up from your practice today, just let me know. Send me an email at chrisa.assis@bautanz.com, or just respond to my email and send me your question, your concern, your light bulb moment. I will be very, very happy to read through them all. So we're going to start with a warm-up slash a quick review of what we did last time. Getting the spine and the body ready for all the twists and much, much more stuff that we're going to do. And I want you to try to find these different kind of movements that we've talked about. There's a little bit of a side bend, a little bit of a twist, and a little bit of a curve and extension of the spine. You can see it here a little bit better of how the hips are part of this swing. And then when you reach the end of your room, start from the arm, swing the arm around, and then see how it connects to the leg of the same side, and gently come into your pivot. So exactly what we did last week, a little bit more compact to save us some time. But one thing that I want you to notice is that all these movements that we see in our walks, that we're exaggerating here through this swing, we can find them in ochos. We can find them in our daily daily activities, and it's so that's where exaggeration helps, because it creates this awareness of like, oh yeah, of course, of course there is a little bit of a curve, of course there is a little bit of a twist and a little bit of a bend. So try to see which movements you're missing and which movements you're you're pinpointing, and the ones that you're missing or that you can see it in the video but you can't feel it in your body, try to exaggerate them more. So dial up the exaggeration a little bit more, and see if you can bring them to the surface and you can become aware of them. And then, of course, you can go back to normal, and that feeling, that experience will accompany you. So yeah, that's that's one of the things that we gain through exaggerating. So another thing that I want you to try to find here, and try to find it throughout the video is how aside from the mechanical structure, because we talked about this, of how everything works together, I want you to feel how the energy here is not wasted. So the energy, I'm not stopping, and I'm using this swing to make my way forward. So I'm not losing any of it as my making my way forward or back. And when I say I'm not losing any of it, you want to be able to channel that energy upward and then downward again. So try to find the pathway so you're not going too far back and then having to shift forward, for example. Or here, when you're changing direction, you want to see how that last little bit of your step, how that connects to the twist of the upper body that leads to the pivot. So those transitioning points, those moments where another decision needs to be made, either to stop swinging and step back or to finish the shift of weight and add a twist. Those moments are moments where you can be wasting energy if you're not timing it properly. So, and that's why in the previous videos we talked about timing so much. So you want to find the right moment where you're not just stopping and then starting the movement again, but one movement feeds into the other one. So maybe that's not something that you can do right now, but that is okay. So you might be finding yourself stopping and then starting again, or better said, stopping and then adding the pivot. But that's okay for now. Just have though in mind if to look for a different way, a little bit more of an efficient way to make all of these transitions, not only the pivot, but all of these transitions as efficient as possible. And here we're gonna go straight into back ochos, and I want you to try to go right into them, provided of course you have time to do more of this video, but try to go right into them. Try not to stop. And even though now we're doing normal back ochos like you would do them on the dance floor, try to find these movements that we exaggerated in the exercises before, try to find them here. That's why I wanted you to do those two exercises together, so those two drills together, so you don't have to exit from this mood. So try to find the how the upper body coordinates with the lower body. Try to find that the drop and lift in the shoulders. Try to find the twist in the rib cage and how that connects to the side bend. Try to find the drop, the slight drop and curve of the hips and curve of the spine. All these things that we exaggerated before using the swing, even the swing itself. Try to find it here. So the swing hides in the as in the passing of the free leg from the base when the free leg comes in or swings through, but it's a baby swing. Similarly, the side bend is there, but it's a tiny one, and so on and so forth. So try to find these movements, not that we're not exaggerating. And so we're back to exaggeration, and we're going to be looking into side steps linking to ochos and something more, but I want it to be a surprise. So here we go. Just go from side to side and no exaggeration here. And try to notice any underlying movements, such as the ones that we've been talking about in the last 2-3 videos. So try to notice any underlying movements and exaggerate them once you start, pinpointing them, becoming aware of them. So I'm guessing that the first one, the easiest one, probably the most obvious one, is a little bit of a side bend, a little bit of a sway, let's put it that way. So we start with exaggerating that, and feel free to dial it up as much as you like. So you start with the side bending, and then you might start to notice that as you side bend, your arms are not exactly in that same position. One arm might be dropping a little bit more forward than the other, and that is because along with the side bend, as we've talked about, there is a little bit of a twist. So in Axis Syllabus, we call it osculation. But more of that later. Let's see. So you exaggerate the side bend and the twist. So we're starting to add things on. And then you might start noticing, and let's take it from a different view so it can be a little bit more obvious. You might start noticing that there is a different kind of center somewhere where my hand is. And I want you to try to, if you can reach back, that's great, or if you can do it against the wall or against a pillow or something. Try to find that point where it feels like all these movements are starting from. And you might notice that this is probably where the hand of your partner is if you're a follower. Or his arm in the close embrace. So becoming aware of that spot in the body that we call an anatomical center, try to see how these movements are linked through that center, and not only that, try to see how the energy is channeled through the center, through that center, because as we're going from that osculated movement, being the side bend, the twist, and if you notice here in this position how my hips are going back and forth a little bit, that curve forward curve in the spine, it can lead to a pivot. So that will be our next step. Exaggerating all these movements, these 3 movements, curving the spine, tilting the hips forward or back, curving into a side bend, and curving in a twist, and how that leads to a pivot. So without stopping, without stopping all these exaggerated motions, try to see how those can help you in changing your direction, either to back ultras or to forward ultras like we're doing now. Notice also that, interestingly enough, the steps are quite clean to the side. So if we see the same movement from this perspective, you start identifying that anatomical center. Try to see, maybe try to feel how different things in your body connect there, and then start to move. And if your teacher tells you that feel that your legs are starting from your diaphragm, guess what? That is where your diaphragm is. And the psoas that are going, the muscle that goes around your hip links to that very point. So there is an actual anatomical connection, and we want to find it through movement because it will help you really literally connect the dots between the upper and the lower body. So in a very relaxed mood, and again, finding those movements and exaggerating them as much as you feel it is necessary for your awareness to kick in. You're going to start with side steps, and then when you feel ready, you're going to add a pivot, either to the front or to the back. And let's see how that links. I want you to notice that I'm not moving away from the bar. So more movements do not necessarily mean that you're going to end up in chaos. So don't worry about that. Our body was built in this way. There's no one straight line in our body. Everything is linked in many different levels, and that gives us the opportunity to create lines that, of course, are not straight, but get us to the direction that we want to go. So back to our drill. You're going from side to side. You're exaggerating these motions. Maybe you're even feeling that you're doing a different kind of dance than the one we're doing. When you're ready, you exit with a pivot, either to the front, like I'm doing now, or to the back, like I was doing before. And so from this point, we're going to connect everything together. So we're going to go for full ochos, a side step, another forward ocho, and into back ochos. And I want you to really work in finding all these movements now that everything is dialed down and we're not exaggerating. Find these movements and try to keep, if you manage to relax with a previous exercise, try to stay relaxed. So don't let the tango drill and all the tango rules that might be you might try to be following, don't let that take that relaxation and turn it into tension for you. So you're just doing forward and back ochos with a side step in the middle. That's it. But we're trying to use our energy mindfully. We try, and we're doing that by finding those pathways, the mechanical, the muscular, the skeletal, there we go, and and energy pathways that are going through that anatomical center. So you can always go back to touch feedback, or the it might be easier for followers, but just think about a close embrace. The arm of your partner is around that spot. So think about that touch, or create that touch with your hand or against the wall, or against your fake partner, like the bar. So you can speed up if you like. And if you're wondering where we're going with this, you can. I'm going to give you a little hint before the surprise. So this is all nice and calm, right? So everything here is calmly going and changing slightly to full back ochos, but it's still calm, the same energy, keeping the energy at the same level, not stopping between, no breaks, um, uh, no rough spots, no rough corners or edges, and it's just changing of a smooth change of direction. All right. So what we are going to do in just a little bit is see how we can actually still being mindful of those pathways and of energy management. We're going to see how we can have bursts of energy within our dance. So after doing your ochos, and hopefully your body is ready for this, let's see. So as we're doing back ochos, we're going to be switching to forward ones. In this initial stage, you just switch with a pivot. So like this. As you were going back, you change your mind and you go forward. Try again not to stop. Try not to make this a sticky point. Be prepared for the transition, for the change of direction, and try to keep the energy level the same. As you can see, there's no glitch, there's no stopping, no acceleration, no I don't know, no bumping, no waste of energy in any way. So you keep the energy level the same, and you just change your direction from forward to back and vice versa. And only now things are about to change a little bit. Yep, with boleos coming. But I want you to see boleos as a little bit of a burst of energy. So you're containing here, containing to kick. So for the leg to come up, there needs to be a little bit of a give outward, right? An outward give. So especially for it's more obvious, let's put it that way, in the back boleo. So I want you to contain the energy here, not containing like tensing up, but keeping it the same, keeping it nice and smooth and calm, only to only to have a little bit of an outburst in during your change of direction. As you can see, there is no other change. So I'm not accelerating. I'm not stopping. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not putting any extra power in the arms or the body. The only thing that I'm doing is that I'm using a little bit more energy, sending it outward through the foot and creating the boleo right as I change my direction, because that's how boleos are created. There is a change in the direction of the ocho and at the same time an outburst of energy outward and around. So give it a go. And so just for the end, putting everything together, summarizing everything. See how even the energy that we talked about is summarized here. I am not tensing up. I am not stopping. I'm going from one body mass to the next. At the same time, I am not afraid to let energy go. So yes, my whole body is moving in unison. I'm just trying to show you here the anatomical center we've been talking about before. But I'm not afraid to let my arms go and let some energy drop away from the fingertips. So I'm not in full control, let's put it that way, of keeping everything contained within the body. On the contrary, I want to let things go and, play with it. So, as we're reaching back to bringing the whole body into movement, as we're finding these paths between the body and the arms, as we let energy go out through the fingertips and downward through the feet, giving ourselves a little bit more sense of grounding. You relax the spine. You try to find that upward and downward link from the top of the spine to the tail and see how everything moves around it. Enjoy.